Well, young people are waking up to the fact that their government kills people in nonstop foreign wars. And guess what? They hate it.
Wow.
This is a story
That's good
that
news.
really has me feeling optimistic about the future because of this video. These videos we're about to show you that went viral, where young people are like, wait a minute, I'm an unwilling participant in foreign wars. This makes me unsafe. I don't want this. It's something that we've been saying for a long time, and it's wonderful. But meanwhile, the flip side, the awful part of this story, is that the media is protecting the American government's lies about the war on terror. So here's what happened. This letter from Osama bin Laden from 2002 has been on the Guardian's website for years, over a decade. And when videos reacting to it recently in the context of the war in Palestine on Palestinians went viral, The Guardian deleted it. So first of all, an applause to these young people for seeking out context in this conflict. That's wonderful, but shame on the media for censoring their ability to do this and protecting the military-industrial complex and in using the censorship industrial complex. It's crazy. These are many evils. So at last, what I want to say is what I'm about to show you is absolutely not an endorsement of Osama bin Laden. So before you even try and type that out, I'm going to tell you to get the F out of here with that. He was not a good person who we should take life lessons from. He was an ideologue, trust fund baby with bloodlust, but he showed us very clearly what motivated that bloodlust, which is the U.S. war on Islamic people and Islamic nations, which involved Zionist accomplices. We ignore this at our peril, because the war on terror always brings us more war. And I think what young people are seeing is that they are complicit in voting for warmongers who use our taxes for death. So I just wanted to put that out there. No, okay, let's look at the letter. This is the 2002 letter from Osama bin Laden, translated to the American people. It's translated from Arabic, so we'll just keep that in mind. It had been posted on the Guardian website for over a decade, but since the war in Gaza, young people started reading it to look for context for all of these terror attacks. Now, once the Guardian started to see this go viral, they removed it from their website. Take a look at this.
Here's removed document, as if they thought, well, no one's going to be able to find this now.
Right.
The internet is not is not ephemeral. We can't find it now.
We sure showed them. Now, why would they do this?
It adds more fuel to the fire.
Right, because they don't want young people thinking like this. Now, I'm going to show you a compilation of these young people, and they are speaking in jargon. Some of it's very like these days. It's very hip. It's very now. Words that I'm not using right now. But I think what I want you to see here is young people talking to each other, looking for complex explanations to their world instead of just headlines and dismissals. So watch.
This morning I read Letter to America, which is Osama bin Laden's letter to America explaining why he attacked Americans. And I am ashamed to say that I not only have never read this letter, but I didn't even know this letter existed. It's wild, and everyone should read it. If you haven't read it yet, read it. However, be forewarned that this has left me very disillusioned, and I feel the same exact way I felt when I was deconstructing Christianity. I feel a little bit just confused, like I have entered into another timeline. What is this? And yeah, so go read it.
So I just read A Letter to America, and I will never look at life the same. I will never look at this country the same. Please read it. And if you have read it, let me know if you are also going through an existential crisis in this very moment, because in the last 20 minutes, my entire viewpoint on the entire life I have believed and I have lived has changed. Please read that entire letter.
I need everyone to stop what they're doing right now and go read. It's literally 2 pages. Go read A Letter to America. And please come back here and just let me know what you think, because I feel like I'm going through like an existential crisis right now, and a lot of people are. So I just need someone else to be feeling this too.
I need you to stop what you're doing and go read A Letter to America. It is literally the craziest thing I've read in a while. And while I can't say that I'm that surprised, I am pretty shocked. So go read it and tell me what you think, because I really also need to talk to other people about this. And actually, before you even read the letter, I did want to mention, in reading the letter, I could only think of this tweet that I saw the other day. Under settler colonialism, any kind of resistance is branded as terrorist because the only acceptable violence is violence by the occupier.
So this is fucking insane. I just read Osama bin Laden's letter to America, which I will be going through right here, but it's actually so mind-fucking to me that terrorism has been sold as this idea to the American people, and honestly just so many Western inhabitants within certain nations, that this group of people, this random group of people, just suddenly wakes up one day and just fucking hates you, just wants you dead, wants you gone, and this is all because they believe that they're better than us. Like, that is the root of terrorism. It doesn't make sense. They just hate your fucking nation. But reading this letter, it becomes apparent to me that the actions of 9/11 and those acts committed against the USA and its people were all just the buildup of our government failing other nations.
Now, are those kids saying that bin Laden was right to blow up the Twin Towers? Clearly not. Also in this letter, bin Laden rails about gay rights. Also, he says that AIDS is a satanic American invention. Clearly, they're not saying that, right? What they're saying is they're reading what a terrorist actually says and not buying the American government's "they hate our freedoms" BS. They don't hate our freedoms. I think that they'd love to never think about us ever at all. They hate our pursuit of their blood and money and oil. These people are realizing that when their government kills people abroad, at least some of those people will then want bloody revenge on us. In 2002, here's part of the letter. Bin Laden wrote this. He says, "You've starved the Muslims of Iraq, where children die every day. It's a wonder that more than 1.5 million Iraqi children have died as a result of your sanctions, and you did not show concern. Yet when 3,000 of your people died, the entire world rises and has not sat down." He's talking about the 3,000 souls from 9/11. Now, that 1.5 million Iraqi children number, though, in the decade since he wrote that, has grown to over 4.5 million children, people, souls, innocent civilians. Where did I get that? Well, remember, we talked about this in May. This was a report from Brown University that said that the death toll post 9/11 from all of the wars since stands now at 4.5 million people and counting. Most of these were indirect deaths, meaning that they came from the post 9/11 wars' destruction of economies, public services, and the environment. Indirect deaths grow in scale over time. Remember this chart? It means that suffering will continue long after the U.S. and Western allies withdraw from those regions. Of those 4.5 million deaths, they say that most of them, in fact, 3.7 million, are from indirect causes such as the spread of disease, health problems, destruction of economies, public services, and the environment, and they just keep going. And then once we're done spreading devastation in those regions, we make it worse with sanctions of mass destruction, which prevent economies from recovering in any meaningful way. That's why we have this horrific chart about, it didn't print well or didn't PDF well, about child malnutrition, children literally wasting. Now, recall when Secretary of State Madeleine Albright was asked about the children that had died in Iraq since our war on terror, she said this.
"I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it."
Worth it, she said. Now, another reason that the media is censoring this, they're saying that it's anti-Semitic, Osama bin Laden's letter. Now, it's anti a lot of things. It's anti-homophobic. He talks about...
Well, it's anti-homosexual, not anti-homophobic.
It is homophobic. I'm sorry. It is absolutely anti-Zionist, to be sure. But what we're saying here is it's worth understanding why people attack us and if there's anything we can do to stop it. And absolutely there is. He in the anti-Semitic part, he says that Americans allow the Jews to take land from them in Palestine and destroy their mosques and keep them under the Jewish protection of weapons. He warns, though, that civilians should be held accountable for this. This is what we call collective punishment. He says, you may dispute that all of the above does not justify aggression against civilians for crimes they did not commit and offenses which they did not partake. This argument contradicts your continuous repetition that America is the land of freedom and its leaders in this world. Therefore, the American people are the ones who choose their government by way of their own free will, a choice which stems from their government to its policies. Thus, the American people have chosen, consented to, and affirmed their support for the Israeli oppression of the Palestinians, the occupation and usurpation of their land, and its continuous killing, torture, punishment, and expulsion of the Palestinians. The American people have the ability and choice to refuse the policies of their government and change it if they want. Now, this evil, what he's talking about here, evil is collective punishment. It's called collective punishment. That means you punish people for innocent civilians for what their governments do because they chose them, right?
Right.
So we in the West can't have a double standard about collective punishment where we say that anyone who is Palestinian is fair game to be punished because their government, Hamas, did this, right? And also, though, we shouldn't be fair game for what our government does. No, you can't have it both ways.
Right. So when you look at the invasion of Syria, right, the illegal occupation of Syria right now, it's an illegal occupation. And as Kevork Almasi and other Syrian journalists have pointed out, the United States is there illegally. And so by that metric, then, the American people in many ways are complicit. They voted for President Biden. They voted for this Congress.
Right.
Congress just passed a resolution confirming staying in Syria and continuing the invasion.
They rejected a withdrawal of Gaza in Syria. You're right.
Yeah, and pointing out Syria did not attack the U.S.
Right.
Syria has never attacked the U.S.
Yes.
Like,
right.
What in the hell are we doing there?
Right. Why are we attacking Russia, by the way? As our friend Tucker Carlson has pointed out, he's like, I've never known any American to have been killed by Russia. Mm-hmm. So why are we attacking Russia? Why, what are we doing? And so will we not expect there to be some sort of reprisal? Some sort of, we're worried about the safety of the American people, and you're literally swatting hornets' nests and going to be surprised when someone gets stung?
Right. And so, again, this double standard that says, well, Palestinians, they're there, they voted for Hamas, then they're guilty too, they have to suffer collective punishment, then we should too, right? You can't have it both. So either you believe in protecting civilians or you don't. And this is the part that I think young people are starting to understand, is that terrorists see this as a way of revenge because we otherwise are not listening. This is also from the letter saying that Allah the Almighty legislated the permission and option to take revenge. Thus, if we are attacked, we have the right to attack back. Whoever has destroyed our villages and towns, then we have the right to destroy theirs. Whatever has stolen our wealth, we have the right to destroy their economy. And he says, why then did we attack in New York and Washington? Because look at the last line, America does not understand the language of manners and principles. So we are addressing it in a language it understands. Now, so whoever buys this, the they hate our freedoms BS is not listening. And then we're not seeing how we are being made to be complicit, right?
We spit on this very, very early when President Bush was campaigning on this. They hate our freedoms. That's why they attacked us. They hate our freedoms. Like anyone with a brain knew that wasn't the case. They just randomly hate our freedoms, so they're going to attack us? No, that's not at all what was happening. How about all the military bases that you're literally building in their backyard and stealing their oil and their resources?
Right.
Like you're literally driving them into poverty. You're stealing their shit. Get out of their house, and maybe that's why they're upset. Not the justification for attacking and killing Americans, but that's exactly what the reasoning was. Not that they hate our freedoms. Go ahead, David.
Well, I was just going to say, there's more freedoms in what is the other countries is my point. That why aren't they attacking them? Uruguay, that's the one I was going to use. There's more freedom there. They're not attacking Uruguay.
Right.
Yeah, the United States is not the freest country in the world that we purport to be, but there are a lot of countries that are actually freer So
Right.
yeah, why aren't they under a constant attack?
Yeah. And another line the U.S. uses is, well, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Well, does negotiate mean stop killing them and taking their oil? In which case, maybe we should start negotiating, right?
Well, and we created Hamas.
Right.
So we can't negotiate with an organization that we created and funded. We created Al Qaeda.
No, but that's what they tell us is we can't we can't negotiate at all, because when the question is, well, why'd they do this to us? What do they want? Is a totally normal question, right? If someone breaks into your house with a gun, you say, what do you want?
Right.
And so we want to know, what is it they want? Why are they hurting us? This is a sincere, legitimate question. And we say, we won't negotiate with them. We're just going to
We won't even listen.
And so they don't want us to ask that question so that maybe we can give them what they want so that we are safer. If someone breaks into your house and they say, we want what's in the safe, you give it to them to save your children, right? That's a pretty rational response. So if they're saying, we want you to stop bombing us, maybe we should give it to them and reject this we don't negotiate with terrorists line so that we don't get terror on our shores the same way we did in the Orlando nightclub bombing, which was spun as some kind of attack on gay rights. It wasn't. Those people did not die because they were gay. They died because their government was attacking other countries abroad. Had nothing to do with being gay. And clearly, this is what young people are saying. Like, let's understand this and stop it. Like this girl, who, again, I'm going to warn you, she uses the F word and a lot of jargon, but I think she's pretty darling because it's just blowing her mind. Watch.
Okay, so if you don't know what the fuck is going on in the world right now, I'm here to explain to you. Y'all, I'm shaking because I don't know what to do. Like, oh my God. Okay, so Osama bin Laden came out with a letter to America, and this is just him answering the first question. This is just the first question. This is all information that I gathered from the first question. He asked 2 questions, he answered 1. Hold on. So he says, because you attack us and continue to attack us, you attacked us in Palestine, it brings us both laughter and tears that you're yet tired of repeating your fabricated lies. Mind you, he's talking to America. America as a whole, okay? Attacked us on a daily basis. Over 30 million civilians have died. Not army people, regular civilians, your mama, your daddy, your grandma, the kids, dead. You steal our wealth and oil, I don't know this word, but because of your international influence, you sound entitled, America. The theft is indeed the biggest theft ever witnessed by mankind in history of the world. Starve the Muslims of Iraq. Children die every day. More than 1.5 million Iraqi children have died as a result of your sanctions and did not show no concern. Yet, when 3,000 of your people die, the entire world rises and has yet to sit down. He's talking about 9/11. 3,000 people died in 9/11. Yet every year, it's like, oh my God. But yet millions of people are dying and, oh my God. Oh my God. Hold on. He says, you have supported the Jews and their idea that Jerusalem is their eternal capital and agreed to move their embassy there. Listen, y'all, with Americans' protection, the Jews are planning to destroy, I don't know what this is, I'll put it right here. More than half a century of attacks. And did y'all know that the tax dollars are given to Israel to help them kill all the people in Palestine? I don't know what to do with this information. Like, I'm going crazy. Because it's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not going to lie, I was little as fuck when 9/11 happened.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's in a bathroom. I love that she was in a bathroom, by the way. And then somebody walks in.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Hey, look. Yeah, forget the jargon and all that. But like the fact that she's reading and trying to understand.
She's
like, I don't know all the
notes
answers.
in her flowered notebook.
Yeah,
you know,
she's like, I'm just learning about this. Wait a second. Is this true? Let me do more research on it. Is this true? Are people dying on a regular basis at the hands of U.S. occupation in different countries in the Middle East and Africa? Like, it's a great question. Good for young people for actually starting to investigate it here. Maybe these young people can join us in this peace movement because there is a lack of a peace movement in the United States. And it'd be great to see people like that rising up. And instead of voting for people like Joe Biden, because this generation, this Gen Z generation, 68% of them voted for the warmongers that run the United States of America right now. Antony Blinken, President Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, those people that run the country, Gen Z voted for overwhelmingly.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to blow your mind more, girl. Obama, Hillary Clinton, they all perpetuated this same war while they were in power. So it's all of them. I just think it's a wonderful awakening to see young people. They care about someone who is not in their community. They care a lot. They want to understand, and they're willing to accept nuance that is being censored from them under the guise of misinformation. They're trying to take it from you. Don't trust them, and read for yourself. Bravo to this generation. Bravo to this trend.
Well, and that's like, real quick, a conversation that we have all the time. Like, we know this now. What do we do with this information? Because it becomes so overwhelming, and that's like one thing, and we cover like how many things. So we're like on a daily basis, just like, what do we do with all of this information?
Well, and I think our audience knows this, right? Our audience is smart. They're well read. They understand what the United States has done here. I see it in our I see it in our chat every night. They're aware of this tyranny of the United States and these other countries stealing resources and minerals and so forth, and gas and oil, and putting up military bases around the world. I see this on a regular basis. So that's great. I see that our audience is responding to this. They already know this, but there's a whole generation that is just waking up and like, how do I process this? You know what? Start reading. Start reading books. Start paying attention to independent media that's not tied to the mainstream.
Right, exactly. And especially wake up to the things that they're censoring from you. Because if The Guardian is taking this off because you're having this reaction, then clearly there's more that's being censored from you and kept from you under the guise of misinformation. But keep going. Pull this thread, young generation of Americans and abroad. Keep going. Bravo.
That's right. Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.